Aparna Kalra was taking a walk in this park in northwest Delhi when she was attacked by unidentified assailants. Meanwhile, Aparna Kalra is in a critical condition. She is not fit to record a statement. The police are trying to find a witness in this case who can assist them. What was the reason behind this assault and who were involved is still to be probed by the police.
We spoke to the residents around here that they have informed us that the park has always been unsafe, and this is not just one such incident that has taken place over here.
देखो पूरी तरह सेफ नहीं है, यहाँ कुछ ना कुछ होता रहता है. यहाँ पे सारे जुआबाजी खेलते रहते हैं, कोई शराब खुले में पीता रहता है.
अब ये क्योंकि ये सार पार्क है, यहाँ से बड़े गुंडे बदमाश लोग आते हैं. कोई तो यहाँ शराब पी रहा होता है, कोई जुआ खेल रहा होता है, किसी की बात सुनते नहीं हैं.
दिन में हमारी लेडीज इस रोड पे आने को नहीं तैयार होती है, इसलिए बहुत अनसेफ है.
It is not safe actually. If you are coming after 9 o'clock and all, it's not safe.
In general, yes, I have to think twice if I have to go somewhere else, some other state. Yeah, I will want somebody else with me.
If like things happen like that on the road, slowly people are going to get scared. Even girls are going to feel scared even while walking on the road. No one's safe even in the day. I don't know what's going to happen at night.
India's not what it used to be before, and people don't respect their the barriers of respect towards women as they used to about even 10 years ago, and now they think that sab chalta hai.
A gruesome attack on a female journalist in Delhi. 45-year-old freelance journalist Aparna Kalra was attacked by unidentified men when she was out for her daily evening walk in a park near her home. The incident happened in Bharat Nagar area of northwest Delhi. Aparna sustained serious injuries on her brain and skull. The police have nabbed 3 of the suspects, all drug addicts from the neighbouring area. Their motive, possibly molestation, that Aparna resisted. Possibly, we don't know that for sure. Remember, she was just on an evening walk near her own home in a public park. She was not drunk or returning from a party or skimpily dressed. Hello and welcome. You are watching the Urban Debate. This is Krishna Kumar. On the show today, the question we are asking is something we've been asking repeatedly for over a year. Is no place safe for women in this country, especially the national capital? And join in. Share your opinion by calling us on the number flashing on the bottom of your television screens. That's for you to have your say. But on the Urban Debate today, we have a very, very special panel. I'm going to call their names out. All of you, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us over here. There is Shama Mohammed, National Spokesperson for Congress Mumbai, from Mumbai. Nirja Chaudhary, senior journalist. Anila Singh, State Spokesperson, the BJP. Brinda Adige, women's rights activist, joining us from Bengaluru. Pramila Nesargi, lawyer and women's rights activist, joining us from Bengaluru again. We also have with us Sujay Kantawala, senior advocate, joining us here in our studios, and Mr. Naveen Chomal, senior advocate at the Mumbai High Court and Supreme Court, joining us over here. Thank you all of you for taking time out to be with us over here. I'm going to start with Brinda Adige over here. As a women's rights activist, Brinda, I really wished that the next time I spoke to you will not be about another woman being attacked in the national capital. How does it, I just want to understand, when you as a women's rights activist see this cropping up as a top story across television news channels and newspapers and whatnot, how do you feel at this point in time?
My first reaction is anger, because we are living in a democracy. We have a Prime Minister who talks of Beti Bachao. We are listening to elected representatives day in and day out making comments that are derogatory to women, and yet have no shame to come and ask for votes from all of us. We as taxpaying citizens are not safe, and there is nothing that they are willing to do. They are only giving lip service, and this hurts me and makes me feel very angry that the largest democracy in the world, 50% of its population are women, and there is no safety for this population, for this group of citizens, either out on the streets or inside the homes, and there is complete complacency and apathy on the part of the administration, the system, as well as the politicians.
Absolutely, Brinda. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I am hurt. I am angry. I am sure every single person on this panel is hurt and angry just because we've just lost count of the number of times. I mean, really, I have lots of data to tell you over the course of the next 1 hour, but I really don't have data to talk to us about how many of these have happened, especially in the recent past. We're actually losing count. And that's the most saddening thing about this. I'm going to take this to Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist in Delhi. Neerja, you're a senior journalist in New Delhi. This is your, so to speak, brethren. And it's an attack good enough to put the person under an ICU, and all she was doing was taking a walk close to a park. Really, the question we asked at the beginning of the show, is no place safe?
Well, that is one part of the story, is no place safe in the capital of a country like India. But you know, it is around 6:30, it's not very, very late. From all reports, there were people around. From the reports that have appeared, she had no money on her, no mobile, no bag. As you've said, she went for an evening walk. It's not as if the area was deserted. Now, the question that comes to my mind, A, there should be a proper inquiry to establish why she was attacked. Was she attacked as a citizen, as a woman, or was she attacked as a journalist? Now, were there things that she had written about which could have provoked an attack? All these will require very careful investigation, and I hope the government will go in for that. Because the public, all of us have a right to know why she was attacked. And as you said, she's battling for her life today. I know her skull was cracked in many places, and I mean, it's a horrible story of what has happened. But I would say that if a politician is attacked, if a journalist is attacked, when the inquiry is done, there has to be, you know, a watchfulness that it could be reasons other than any lawlessness that would apply to other citizens. There has to be an alertness to possible other reasons. And I hope in this instance also that will come into play.
Valid point you make, Neerja, because one is that it is an attack on a woman, and that's saddening enough. And this time around, it's a journalist woman who's being attacked. And in fact, I'm just going to take this to the lawyers on the panel now, before I head to the other activists on the panel. We have Sujay Kantawala and Naveen Chomal. Naveen Chomal, let me begin with you. You know, we've been here on women's rights, women's safety discussions on so many occasions. But now at this stage, after having all those discussions, all those bills, you know, so much talk about women, you know, CCTV footage being, every state government is promising to put CCTV cameras everywhere. You know, amongst all this talk, here comes a plain, simple and shut case. A woman journalist, a woman first, and then a journalist as well, was taking a walk close to a park. And this is what happens to her. You know, as Neerja was talking about, the way we think about this case is very important, isn't it, Naveen Chomal?
Exactly. I fully agree with you, and also with Neerja ji also, and of course my other co-panelists who are going to speak in future also. But what I want to throw some light and angle to it is that let us think of curing the disease rather than just curing the symptoms and trying to prevent them. Because see, what we have also been, activists has been inspiring the youth that you should have particular purusharth in you, not just having a power in your fist, but a real purusharth should be cultivated in the men from the childhood, that they should be given the proper teaching that a man, he is supposed to respect a woman, and he should always have a responsibility that he will always care for the woman, he will always run for the protection of the woman, he will not take dowry from the woman, he will not hit the woman. So all these things should be imbibed right from the childhood in the education. So that will solve the entire problem. So here just putting some heavy investigation, definitely it is the call need of the time. And what, as Neerja ji said, that we have to be very careful about that angle also, that she must have done a responsible duty towards the society as a journalist, and somebody must have been aggrieved and he must have hired somebody to attack her.
I'm going to bring in Sujay at this time. Sujay, you've been hearing us talk as well. Neerja made a very valid point. We'll need to be very careful about how this case is handled. I want to understand, how do you view it as a lawyer? What needs to be done in terms of investigation at this time so that we nab the culprits in the end?
You see, as a citizen and a lawyer, it appalls me. It makes me sick. It makes me throw up when I see again and again crimes against women, innocent women, women who were completely defenseless, being attacked by these kind of persons. These kind of persons need to be identified. These kind of persons need to have a fear of the law. You see, it has to be a two-pronged attack. What has to happen is, you need to have people who have the fear of the law, And you should have the law enforcement agencies capable, well equipped, well armed, well informed, and having a sympathetic approach to the victim on one part, and a very, very hard approach towards the offenders, and proper sleuthing. At one point of time, our Mumbai police was compared to Scotland Yard. 2 days back, we read a case in which a pervert grandfather who made his granddaughter pregnant was trapped by the Mumbai police, and they made a case. Now, hats off to the Mumbai police for that. But that is one example. Look at this case that we are dealing with today. That is a stark example of the offenders. And the rumor is that there are 3 drug addicts who had accosted this journalist who was out for an evening walk. Now, if that is the situation, if you can't go for a walk in the park, which is the most pleasant thing to do,
what else can one do?
What else can you do?
Yeah.
And you can't go to an air-conditioned mall all the time. You want nature, you want air. So what I'm suggesting is this. We need more policing. CCTV cameras may be there, but CCTV cameras I don't think are deterrents for hard cases like these drug addicts and these kind of people who have no fear. You need to catch these people the moment they are going to make an attempt to harm someone. So therefore you need more policemen. Especially you need motivated policemen, and you need to have a fear of the law. Unless you catch a couple of dozen of these guys and mete out the strictest of punishment, the fear of the law is not going to be there, because fear is something that is going to be a big deterrent.
That needs to be instilled. I'm going to bring this point out also about how this happened close to a park, and I'm going to take this to Pramila Nesargi, lawyer and women's rights activist, who's joining us from Bengaluru. Pramila, this happened close to a park. You come from the city where there's so many parks. Are these places, open for crime because they're not policed properly? There's not enough security in these places.
See, my blood begins to boil. All these things. Day in and out we hear the same story, crime against women. I think that now the day has come, the time has come when our women must equip themselves, kill the persons who attack them. They must equip them in such a way that no man can dare come near them, stare at them, do this, all sorts of incidents. I only feel that all our young children, girl children especially, must be taught that they can't guard themselves. That is the day when I am waiting for, and 20th century definitely will augment level and men of women.
All right, Pramila, we seem to be having a little bit of a problem with your connection. We're just going to reconnect with you. Sorry, please hold your thoughts. We're just going to reconnect with you. I'm just going to take this to the other women in the panel, who are from political parties. We have Shama Mohammed, national spokesperson of the Congress, and we also have Anila Singh, state spokesperson of the BJP, joining us over here. Shama Mohammed, I'm going to take this to you first. What has the establishment not done in so many of these years that we are in this place where we are discussing a woman being attacked on every alternate day? And how can we stop this going forward? What does the establishment need to do?
First and foremost, we have to understand that the Delhi police comes under the center. Like the lawyer was saying, there is no fear. Why after 2014, 2015, 2016, we have seen increased crimes against women. Rapes are, like last year, 1 in 4 is the Delhi police report. Now, after the Nirbhaya incident, we suggested, the Verma committee suggested a one-stop crisis center for women where they get police, they get medical help, they get legal help and emergency service. Now that Mrs. Menaka Gandhi wanted it in every district of India, but the PMO scrapped it. Now what I'm trying to say is that we need a lot more convictions. Once somebody is scared of the law, there will be less crimes against women, less rapes, everything is going to go down. But if people do not fear the Delhi police, we need to ask the Home Ministry why there is increase in crimes against women in Delhi. What is the reason for it? Why is the data going higher and higher? One, we don't see police patrolling. That's one thing the Verma committee has suggested, more police patrolling, CCTV cameras, but we do not see that, and also more women in the police force. So one does not, and also the expenditure which is spent on police right now is much less than it was spent in before 2014. So we have to understand why convictions are not happening. In many cases, FIRs are not filed by the police. They tell them, you don't file it, it's okay, we will sort it out. They are very, they are not too good towards, or what do I say, not appealing towards the person who files the complaint. So there are various issues, and we have to understand why the Delhi police is not being taken up for it by the central government. Now here Mr. Modi always says beti bachao, but this Delhi police is right now under Mr. Rajnath Singh, and he can really pull them up and find out why these crimes against women are increasing day by day.
Only one small suggestion, let us not confine it only to Delhi, let us consider this problem pan-India.
It is a pan-India problem, Mr. Naveen Chomal, but guess what? I have some data with me. I'm going to come to Anila Singh on that. Anila, 6,482 cases of rape and molestation registered under IPC in Delhi for the year 2015. Reported 24 rapes and molestation every day. Dowry death cases 147. 20% more crimes against women in Delhi compared to 2014. These numbers don't look all that good, Anila Singh.
I totally agree with you, and I'm not going to deny the facts and the figures which you have put right in front of us. But this problem is not limited to Delhi only. It is a pan-India problem, as you said earlier. The problem here is not about the figures, the rising figures. The problem here in India, what I think is basically the mindset, the patriarchal mindset. Unfortunately, I'll say it, because India or the Bharat has been the land where the women had been given lots of respect, and they were and they are being worshipped in the form of goddesses. Twice a year, when we pray our goddesses in the form of Nau Durga, like all the men and all the women and everybody, they are there celebrating the womanhood in the form of our goddesses, and after 9th day everything comes back to the square. So it is basically the problem of the mindset, and and secondly, what I think is definitely a policing problem is that. And moreover, the perpetrators, they are not, they do not get convicted very easily. Then the judicial system is very slow. So there are multiple problems which women are facing today, and it is not the problem of one political party, because if we talk about the law and order thing, it is the state case. So like just now Shama said many things about the BJP government in center. Fine, the case has happened in Delhi, and I think so this should not have been there. It has happened, it is very unfortunate, but the problem is pan-India, and something has to be corrected, and the steps has to be taken which affects whole of the India.
Absolutely.
So we should not get restricted to one particular state. So it is the high time. So, and it is a high time, like 70 years of our independence, and still women are struggling with triple talaq, with their safety and security matter. Like I think so around 80% of women, they get assaulted publicly. So it is very shameful. Like we are an independent country, and all the political parties and all the government bodies, I'll say, and as a society, we all should come together to fight this problem.
I agree with you, and let me tell you one very good thing, that all our 4 metropolitan cities, the main high courts, have 4 lady chief justices as on today. It's a very proud thing. We are proud of our women. And where women are unsafe, it's the darkest omens on the society. It's the worst days which we are facing. So therefore, we must respect our women. We put them on a pedestal. And therefore, what I'm suggesting is this. We need to have 10 times more the amount of policemen. We need to recruit more policemen. We need to motivate them. We need to sensitize them. Thereafter, we need to equip them properly. Thereafter, we need to have such tools so that these people are caught before the act is committed. There should be sleuth work. There should be proper sleuth work. And once they are apprehended, we should have fast-track dedicated courts, So all our panelists, we agree that the conviction has to be there, the fear of the law has to be there.
Good point.
It should send shivers down the spine of any pervert.
Absolutely. Good point you're making, Shama Mohammed. I'm just going to come to you because Sujay just made a valid point about making cases about... here's a statistic. About 91% of the molestation and sexual harassment cases filed in Bengaluru between 2014 and 2016 led to acquittals. You know, according to court records that accessed by the Economic Times, and nationally, according to the National Crime Records Bureau, a mere 24% of such crimes against women resulted in convictions in the year 2015, the latest year for which data is available. Shama Mohammed, you wanted to comment on that?
No, the highest number of rapes in India happen in Madhya Pradesh, according to the National Crime Bureau. And the second highest is Rajasthan, and the third is Maharashtra. And in terms of molestations, Maharashtra comes first. The number 2 is, again, Madhya Pradesh, and third is Rajasthan. So these are all states ruled by BJP, and BJP is at the center. I don't want to go into the political parties. What I'm trying to say to Anila Singh is the government can do something about it. The central government has to do something about it, Anila Singh.
Government.
It's a fair point all panelists are making. I know Brinda Adige wants to come in as well.
What I'm trying to say is you're in power now, so do something.
Please, madam.
Increase policing, increase patrolling. You know, it's very important to increase patrolling and policing.
I request all panelists to just hold your peace for a second. Shama Mohammed, Anila Singh, I'm making this very clear. This discussion is not about political parties and who's in power. We all remember what happened in a Congress-ruled state on the 31st of December night. You know, not very long ago, just 2 months ago. That was a Congress-ruled state, and that was shameful enough. So it's got nothing to do with political parties whatsoever. Brinda Adige, you wanted to comment. Please go ahead.
But
every time we talk about safety, security and protection of women, why would political parties place the blame, throw the ball and become unaccountable and make irresponsible comments? This is very sad. And it is also an anger that we would want to portray and register over here. What you as political parties are not realizing is you have to take accountability for this unsafe situation that is being created day in and day out. You have to take responsibility that the judiciary is not functioning. Your fast-track courts are not in place. You have to take responsibility that the budgetary allocations that you have to make for making this safety a action-oriented implementing agent, you are not paving the path for that, whether it is Congress or BJP or whoever it may be. Why would you keep blaming the other person? Across India, you know that women are unsafe. Somewhere it is more and somewhere it is less. But does that make you a better state than a state where there is 20 rapes and where there is only 22 rapes? Please, I think you need to start understanding that you are accountable to the citizens of this nation. You have to take responsibility for having been elected into power. You have the authority and the mandate to put into place the systems, to strengthen and enforce the law, so that citizens become safe, not so that you can blame game and look for the next vote elections. Be accountable, take responsibility and tell us. Accountability is the key word.
We're looking for accountability. We're looking for accountability because if we had found accountability, we would have solved many of these issues by now already.
I totally agree. I totally agree with her. I totally agree with her.
Shama, go ahead after this.
I
Suja,
totally
you can come
agree with her. There should be accountability. You know, I totally in agreement. It's not about politics.
Shama, please go ahead. Finish your point.
Sound.
You're asking me to, yeah. Now, what I'm trying to say, I'm totally in agreement with her, is that it's not about any state or anything, but we need to, there should be accountability. Even in this case which has happened, there should be accountability. And there has to be convictions. Now, the problem is, even if the police act, what happens is our judicial system is so slow. We had started the fast-track courts. I don't know what has happened to these fast-track courts, because by the time the case comes to the court, either the witness is intimidated or the witnesses are murdered. You know, what happens is the slow process. So very important is fast-track courts, which has to be continued, you know, and it's very important, the conviction rate. Once there is fear of the law, these things don't happen. If you look at countries abroad, it is because of convictions. Once you're behind bars, but when you know that you can get out on bail, you're not scared.
Fast track courts, what Shama says, I'm adding to that. Fast track courts are there.
Yeah.
But look at the endemic problem that we are facing. We are so many people. We are such a huge population that if you see per square kilometer, you need particular amount of policemen, particular amount of doctors, particular number of hospitals. We just don't have that. So the problem is, though our courts are there, they are so overburdened that there are so many cases that are happening that they cannot, kind of dispose of those cases.
It's always been the case, hasn't it, Sujoy? All courts have been overburdened, the police is overburdened, the security personnel are overburdened.
Therefore, that has to be rectified. And we as a society have to come together. We cannot say that this particular state has this figure and that particular party.
Absolutely not.
We as a country, we need to think. As a common people with a common intent, we need to think.
This has got nothing to do with political parties, who's ruling and who's not ruling, state level politics, central level politics. It's got nothing to do with any of that. You know what, Naveen Chomal, I'm going to come to you because we just have Pramila Nesargi who's back with us on the panel. Pramila Nesargi, please go ahead. You're making your point.
I just want to tell you, there is nothing like, there must be fear complex in the mind of the public. So long as the fear complex is not there, this will go on continuing. What is that is lacking in? We are following the old Indian Penal Code, the old Criminal Procedure Code, the old Evidence Act. That is why, Justice Malimat Committee was appointed just to give recommendations. Justice Malimat gave a recommendation stating that adversary system that is prevailing in our country in criminal jurisprudence is not sufficient. We must follow French law. That was the recommendation made. In other words, the accused is deemed to be an innocent person. It is for the prosecution to prove. What Justice Malimat recommended is, even accused has a burden to prove. You can't simply say I am innocent. So once the burden is also there on the accused, this sort of acquittals will not go. So the entire system must be changed. Justice Malimat Committee report has to be accepted so that women can think of having justice in this country and the fear complex will automatically prevail in all over the country. That is what we are wanting, and I do not know why the government is keeping quiet with the Malimat Committee report. I only wish that committee report will be accepted, and in India we will change the law. We cannot say in civil law both the parties have to prove, plaintiff and the defendant. The burden will be both on them. In criminal law only prosecution has to prove and accused is supposed to be innocent. That is the reason why all these things are happening, and that's the reason why the acquittal are going on, because prosecution will not play well, the investigation will not be thoroughly done, the witnesses will not come out properly, and that is why the accused are let off. That should go, and we must have a law like the Dubai and other countries where Hammurabi law, I would rather prefer a Hammurabi law. Eye for eye and tooth for tooth. That's the law that we expect. For these persons who are molesting, who are creating all sorts of offences against women, crime against women, they must be dealt with according to Hammurabi law, so that the fear complex would be there, and women at large in the country will feel that they can also have justice in this country. Otherwise, we will not have the justice at all.
Shama Mohammed, I'm going to come to you on that. The entire legal system of how the legal system deals with women's safety needs to change is the point that Pramila Nesargi is making. I want you to comment on that.
Yeah, see, the lawyer was saying that because we are overwhelmed, but we do not have enough judges. If you look at the courts, we don't have enough judges, we don't have enough police force. We need to increase the number of police force. We have also asked, the Justice Verma Committee report says it all, but it has not been implemented. We implemented certain things, and we also have funds from the Nirbhaya funds, which is just lying there. What is the present government? It's again, I'm not making it a party thing, but I'm trying to ask Anila Singh, what is the present government doing with this Nirbhaya fund which is lying there? Why can't we use it for a one-stop crisis center where we can help women, and some sort of phone call or something where we press a button and the crisis center gets the call and immediately emergency services come in? Why can't we increase patrolling? Very important. If you go abroad in any other country, you see patrol cars all the time around at night. Why don't we do that? Those are basic things. And increase the number of judges, increase number of police forces. This is what we need to do. What about the 30% reservation for women in police force, which has not been implemented? So a lot of things which the Justice Verma Committee has said has not been implemented. That is the issue.
All right.
Plus only one more thing, we need to have motivated prosecutors, because you see, under the criminal justice system that we operate in, before Justice Malimat Committee report is implemented, if at all, we need proper ace prosecutors who are motivated, well paid, and they can secure a conviction. That is more important.
Naveen Chomal, you wanted to come on that?
Definitely. I will continue from what my learned friend Sujoy said, because he has made a very mature point rather than what Pramila ji said. Of course, her sentiments are duly respected, but Sujoy said very much mature what our legal system provides, that we are a very civilized country, so we cannot have eye for an eye or that sort of system. But yes, we need to definitely have more number of judges, a better infrastructure for the courts, and a very trained policing. The policing should not be just in number, but they should be very much trained. And here we must appreciate what the Uttar Pradesh government is doing under Yogi ji's this thing, that they are nipping it in the bud. The roadside Romeos are being taken care of.
True. I'm just going to take this to Neerja Chaudhary now. Neerja Chaudhary, you've been waiting patiently. You've been hearing out what all the other panelists have been saying. You want to comment right now? Because it's very clear that the courts are not enough policemen. How do we fix this?
Look, you know, we've talked, these are general things, and we've had n number of discussions on this.
And we come up with the same answers, Neerja, every single time, don't we?
We don't know what to do. We know what to do. It's right, and it is the will to implement. Of course, there are the larger questions, as you say, more judges, more policemen, implementation of the Verma Committee report, Nirbhaya fund use, the judicial system to be speeded up. All those we know. I would like us to make sure that in this particular case, there is a credible, quick, proper inquiry, that there is fast-track trial, and those guilty are brought to book. Let's look at this case that we have at hand. You know, it was the anger and incensed public opinion after the Nirbhaya case that led to the Verma Committee being set up, that led to the changes that came about. In generality, you know, we can talk and our system needs to change, our attitudes need to change. But I would like to ensure in this particular case, justice is done.
Absolutely.
And, you know, otherwise what we are looking, if we are looking at an unsafe capital of India, will we have tourism? No. Will we have foreign investment? No. Those are the larger questions that they will have to look at. But I want to raise one very small point. If druggies are supposed to have attacked Aparna, did not the local police know these druggies were not overnight druggists? Surely the police in the area
How did it take so much time for them to figure out that these were drug addicts? How did it take so much time? Fair point. Anila Singh, isn't that very clear, that point that Neerja Chaudhary is making?
How do we figure out?
How did the local police not figure this out?
No, we cannot blame police on this particular case, because it can happen anywhere, and all the time police is not present on each and every spot. So this is unfortunate, whatever has happened, but I totally agree with Mrs. Chaudhary that the case should be taken care of as quickly as possible, and especially the conviction should be in a proper way and in an exemplary way. But unfortunately, again, as other panelists has said earlier, it is a vicious circle. A lack of police people in the services, lack of judges, and patriarchal mindset. It is huge vicious circle which is connected to each other. So many things has to be done, but at the same time, we cannot blame police all the time. So we need to understand their problems also, and they should their problems should also be taken care of. Which, and if I talk about my government, BJP government in the center, they are doing each and every, they are taking each and every step to make society better. I'm not saying this because I am a BJP worker, but of course I know, and the example has been, I think one of the panelists just now gave an example example of Yogi ji also, Uttar Pradesh, the state from which I come from. So it is more of a political will, but at the same time, the role of society also comes here, and I think the system has to be pumped in with more police and the more judges as well.
All right, fair point, Anila Singh. But I tell you what, we here have information that inquired around. There were these drug addicts roaming around that park all the time, and the police and people there, the neighbors over there, the locality people over there, they knew that there were drug addicts, circling around that park. So that information is very clear. It's really very surprising if the police over there didn't have it. We're talking about Uttar Pradesh. I have some data on Uttar Pradesh, Anila Singh. Crimes against women have increased 61% in the last 5 years. 1,012 rape cases were registered in the last 5 years. 5,000 odd rapists were arrested by the UP police in 2014. That's the kind of situation that UP is facing, and the Romeo squad is trying to fix. We'll have to see how well the Romeo squad pan out. But Brinda Adige has been wanting to make a point for a while now. Brinda, please go ahead.
5 years, Krishna.
Anila Singh, quickly finish your point. We'll go to Brinda Adige.
I just want to correct you.
Yes.
It is not 61%. It is 161%. The crime against women in 5 years, 161% rise was there in crime against women in Uttar Pradesh.
It's just bad news goes
crime
from
against
worse
women
to
is one of the
unimaginably
biggest
bad. We get the
problems
point.
in UP,
We get the point. Brinda
which
Adige,
our
please go
government
ahead.
is really taking care of well.
I just like to respond to the political representatives who are here, and also the lady who spoke about a vicious circle. Madam, these platitudes are not enough. What we need to start telling now is, where is the political will? You are from a political party. Can it not be exerted? Can you not put it into action? Can you pass an order to say that this many policemen who are used for political bandobast duty will now be there available on beat, on patrol and investigation, so that crimes will be reduced, so that future victims will be reduced? Can your party say something like this? Because that is the need of the hour. Not any of these platitudes and saying, "Arey, ye hota hai, ye hai, vicious circle." All that is fine. It sounds nice. What will you do now? There's something that you can do. You have the power to do it. So please ask your party to do it.
You want to come in right now?
Look, this incident that has happened
My party
in the park is one situation. But you have to look at these crimes against women that are happening. You are looking at cases of dowry death, where women are burnt alive. You are looking at minor girls assaulted and sexually abused in orphanages, where High Court had to suo moto take. So therefore, women of all ages across India are being abused, and there is a threat, and there is a clear and present danger. Now, as far as drug addicts are concerned, I'll tell you, there were drug addicts in this park who were seen regularly performing whatever they were taking their drugs over there. In Fountain area, where I operate from, there are small lanes, and we have regularly seen drug addicts taking all this crack and all those kind of things and burning that cigarette. And police has been told again and again by citizens that, look, this is happening, but nothing happens. Now what we should do is empower the citizen to arrest, empower the citizen to catch, form groups, catch these people and take them to the police. Therefore, only if that happens, only if citizens are informed that there is a provision in law which empowers a citizen to also arrest an offender, then this will happen, because the fear has to be there in these people. And when a citizen arrests somebody, the citizen should be treated as a whistleblower with respect. He should not be treated as an accused. That is the point.
Nirja, you wanted to comment on that?
You know, I want to react to
Pramila,
this.
we'll just come to you. Let Nirja have a say, and then we'll come to you, Pramila.
That could it be that, you know, the increased vigilantism that we are seeing on whether it's the transport of cows or, you know, what happened recently in Rajasthan.
Absolutely, everybody knows that.
And, you know, has it created an impression that we can do it, take the law in our hand and get away with it? Does it reinforce that impression in the country? So other people also take law into their hands and feel they can get away with it. I just wondered, you know, where are we headed in all this? And certainly, as far as women are concerned, unless you know, I've worked in Delhi as a journalist. I've driven back home at 2 a.m. in the morning without fear, without anything happening. That's the kind of thing we were used to. And now I have journalistic colleagues tell me in the last 24 hours, we are afraid, we are terrified to go out for a walk. And these are professional women, these are educated women, these are women who are supposed to go out and work at all hours of night and day.
Absolutely.
If this is the fear that's coming in now, I mean, what kind of a Delhi, what kind of an India are we creating?
Nija, I have so many.
Should there not be, I mean, I would like Mr. Rajnath Singh to make a statement on this. You know, on the inquiry and what comes out of it very quickly.
Yeah. Nija, I have so many journalist friends in New Delhi for whom even a ride on an Uber or an Ola is dangerous. You have to be on the phone with them till they reach home in New Delhi, especially in the night. Even if they're taking an Ola or an Uber, no place is safe. Not even a taxi aggregator service, a globally renowned one, is good enough to ensure safety of women. Pramila Nesargi, please go ahead.
So how long should we go on like this, you know? Can we go on saying that I am afraid to go in the night, I am afraid to go alone, I am afraid to walk in the park? What is the lesson that we are learning? It is the time that has come now that every woman in this country must feel, I can defend myself, I can kill 10 times the persons. Look at the Israel, how they are taught. Every student in that Israel is taught about how to defend herself. The same thing must be incorporated in our education system in the whole country, where women must be told how to defend themselves. They must be taught how to defend themselves. Then this man, so-called man, they will be afraid and they can dare not come near any woman. That is the impression that we want to create, and that is the fear complex that we want to create in this country. Let all our women with one voice say, let us learn ourselves how to defend ourselves. We know how to kill them. It is a self-defense. When they are attacking, we have nothing to do. We can kill them. That's the right of private defense is there available. Why should we worry about it? We will learn ourselves, we will equip ourselves, we can say that we can safeguard ourselves, we can walk in the midnight, and we'll see how dare these people can come and attack us. And that is the impression that I want to tell all our women in this country. Equip yourself, learn yourself to defend yourself.
All right, Brinda,
that's what we want now.
Fair enough, Pramila, you made your point. Brinda, I'll come to you for a second. Okay, Brinda, quickly, I was saying, Naveen also wants
absolutely agree that, yes, I completely agree that there should be more power to women and women should become empowered and all of it, but the state has a responsibility, and this responsibility cannot be wished away.
Absolutely.
This accountability is an answer that the state has to give to its citizens, which means strengthen the systems. The administration should back up, and monitoring of all of this should be up to date.
I agree with Brindaji, definitely. And of course, Pramila ji also made a very valid point that women should be, encouraged with their self-defense. But what I somehow not agreeing with Nirja ji, somehow her views seems to be her anger against the BJP government. So let us not deviate from the topic. What I suppose is that let the governments do it, but we all let us contribute our thoughts and form a group of society of vigilant people where we educated boys to be more respectful towards women, ensure that they show their pursharth by respecting and protecting women, and at the same time, as Pramila ji very rightly said, we should also encourage the self-defense amongst the women, and of course make them aware of their right of private defense under the law also, so that they can also in time of emergency help themselves.
Right. I have just one additional point to make at this point before we go back to our panelists, is that yes, we're discussing the fact that it's yet another woman attack in the national capital, but in this particular case of Ms. Kalra, it is also a freelance journalist. And in fact, the Maharashtra cabinet has just recently okayed a draft bill and introduced in the Maharashtra Assembly for attacks against journalists. The salient features of the bill, I'll just quickly give it. The bill seeks to make attacks on journalists a non-bailable offence. Permanently employed journalists as well as those on contract will be covered. The attacker will have to pay a fine and also foot the medical bill of the victim. Misuse of the law by journalists will also attract punishment, and the bill will be introduced in the ongoing budget session. Now, I'm going to take this to Sujay first up. You know, when you see a bill like this being introduced in Maharashtra, don't you think that this kind of a bill should be there across the country?
I think it's a very positive step by the Maharashtra government, and I think this kind of a bill should be implemented throughout India. Yes. Because these offences against journalists and certain other categories of persons also in this bill mainly against women, that has to be implemented. And according to me, implementation not only on paper.
All right.
As we all agree on this panel, there has to be a complete 1 to 100 implementation. It has to start and end in a positive way. So therefore,
the bill is good. It has to be across the country, and implementation will hold the key. Nirja, you want to comment on that? Nirja,
should be taken to the logical end.
Yes.
True. Nirja, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think that we should certainly look, the Maharashtra government must be really congratulated for the step they have taken, and that is something we should look at for all India replication, because the number of attacks against journalists are increasing. And what I said at the outset, I want to repeat that when a proper inquiry is conducted, this angle that was she attacked because of what she may have written or spoken about is an angle that should be kept in mind, that the fact that she was also a journalist. It may not be true, it may be just a case of lawlessness by people, drug addicts, but keep that in mind. And I would just respond to somebody who was saying that Nirjaji's anger against the BJP. You know, when you demand accountability, when you want action at a moment like this, and you raise your voice for it, please don't say it's because you are anti-BJP. That's really
Madam, we have been watching you on the channel for years together.
It concerns me. It concerns
we have been watching you on the channel for years together. Your views.
I just want to add to one other salient feature of this bill, that even it applies cuts both ways. Even if a journalist misuses his position or her position, then the law will not spare them also. Because so therefore it's a very fair and well balanced kind of feature in this bill brought about by the Maharashtra government, and I congratulate them on their effort.
And as Krishnaji said, it should be implemented all over India.
Absolutely. I'm just going to take this to Pramila Nesargi for a second as well. Pramila Nesargi, you were making a very valid point about how this is the moment when women look at the situation and realize that it's up to them to protect themselves. They need to have self-defense. That point is very well taken, Pramila. But what about this particular angle to this particular case as well, which is that the attacks on journalists are on the rise. In this case, it's a woman journalist, and there needs to be a bill like the one that Maharashtra government has passed across the country to protect journalists, and so many women journalists.
See, we can't just take an exception to a journalist. A lady is a lady. A woman is a woman in the country. Women has to be protected. Just because she is a lady journalist, special law, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Every woman in this country and her life is very, very important. Life is important. So I feel that anything which is done, it must be for the welfare of the women, and welfare of the woman must be looked at. And that's the reason why I say women of this country must awake themselves and tell this country what has to be done. In spite of the Verma Committee report, it has not come down. Offences have not come down. Crime is increasing. Why? Because the law is not so stringent. It is not so fearful. It is not creating any fear in the minds of the people. Mindset of the people is same, and they feel after all the courts are there, they will give let us go out of bail and we'll be in the jail. This is the impression that is being created. So we want to amend the law, make it very strict, and see that any person, whoever commits an offence against a woman, will not be released either by bail, and he will not be allowed to be acquitted.
Absolutely. Crimes against women become a non-bailable offence. That is doable.
And if such faulty investigation is done, there must be
Fair point. Pramila, please hold your thoughts, because we have a caller coming in on the show. We have SD Bajaj from Bangalore coming in on the phone line. Pramila, please hold your thoughts. We have a caller from Bengaluru called SD Bajaj. Please go ahead.
So in the matter of sex assault on women and girls, hello, are you getting?
Please go ahead.
In the matter of sex assault on women and girls, not only fast track court but fastest track court should be made available for the contest. 50 convictions should take place immediately. Within 6 months, their end result of the conviction should take place and that will become an exemplary example, and the crime upon women will automatically be eliminated. Political will, our leaders are not prepared to take action. There are various considerations, caste, creed, politics, and what else. Our goal should be that the women should be able to move around freely on the road anytime in 24 hours. So, thank you.
Pramila, you wanted to comment on that?
See, I just want to tell you, it is not the fast track courts. I am an advocate practicing. I know what the fast track courts are. It is nothing. It is a good investigation. It is a good Tahsildar who makes an inquest and good doctor who gives a proper post-mortem report and the proper investigation and the proper evidence, the murder and the inquest, that will give the good judgment. Otherwise, no. Faulty investigation, faulty witnesses and delay in filing the FIR and not bringing the proper witnesses and making them hostile. These are the reasons why the acquittals are going on. That is the reason why Justice Malimat said this system will not work. Improve the system as we have in France.
Fair point.
Unless we bring that,
Naveen,
this will continue and we will not get justice.
Fair point, Pramila.
I only appeal through you.
Pramila, absolutely fantastic. But Sujoy and Naveen, I'm sure you have a disagreement with Pramila, but you have to agree with her on this point. It's a fair point, isn't it?
I agree. And let me say,
Pramila said is absolutely right.
Let me say,
please go ahead, Sujoy.
And especially in the category of rape cases, we have to have a very, very sympathetic and a very careful approach.
Well trained, actually.
Very well trained, because medical evidence of the victim has to be done immediately, the medical examination. Because sometimes what happens, medical examination is delayed, which gives a ground for acquittal for the person who is accused in that offense. So to add to what Pramila ji has said, this has to be done fast, the investigation has to be done proper, the tools have to be there. If in case of a murder, the post-mortem has to be done properly. In case of a victim that is alive, in case of, for example, rape, the examination has to be done properly. And there has to be a very sympathetic approach to this. The victim's identity should not be revealed. But normally, sometimes it is revealed, which is very bad. And therefore, these cases should be fast-tracked. The prosecutor, what Pramila ji said is right. The prosecutors have to be well equipped and motivated. And thereafter, the fast-track court should ensure conviction and pass a reasoned judgment which will not be upset in appeal on any technicality. That is what is important.
Absolutely. Naveen Chobal, you want to add to that?
Exactly. What we require is special training for the police, the concerned doctors, and even the judges and prosecutors. As what Sujay rightly said, the prosecutors is a very kamjor kadi. Weak link in the entire process. Many times the cases are lost because of improper prosecution. So whatever efforts the police take, the prosecutors don't put it before the honorable courts properly.
All right. We also have another caller for the show joining us, Shruti from Jaipur, joining us on the phone. And Shruti, please go ahead.
Hello.
Shruti, please go ahead. Ask your question.
Yes. I'm just asking when the educated Indian society is going to change their mindset, because till date I'm 50 years of age, and whether the men in the house, they would expect us to behave in a manner that we are there just to them, just to serve them, and above all, when we try to extend a friendly hand to other men in the society, they also would look at us with the same attitude. There's no change, whether educated, 50 years of age, 30 years of age. How undemocratic this is. I mean, I'm just surprised. We talk of women emancipation, we talk of women upliftment, empowerment. Is this empowerment? No. All the time means something or the other happening. Insecurity is basic issue not only outside the house, even inside the house. I can listen to my neighbors being ill-treated by their husbands. Domestic violence is still
fair point.
A serious issue.
We've already discussed this point here, Shruti. You couldn't have said it better. Nothing changes these things. The mentality has not changed. We can fix so many other things, but it's the mentality that is the biggest, most difficult things to fix. We can get more courts, we can get better prosecutors, we can get more trained police. I'm going to ask one last question to Anila Singh before we wrap this up. Anila, we've discussed this threadbare. We have only one question to ask you as somebody part of the ruling dispensation. Will you be able to get this park in New Delhi cleaned up of anti-social elements? With regards to this particular case, one last question to you.
Not only this park, I think so, I'm going to say it about whole of the Delhi. Police is doing its work. Now, I can promise you from your channel that it is going to take up this case, especially what we are discussing about, and the accused will be behind the bars. and the strong action will be taken so that the message can be conveyed to the society and all those who do misdeeds like that. And one more thing I want to add here, that different apps are there for the women's safety, which are being introduced by the Delhi police. So the women in the society can use them for their if they're going out, and for their safety as well. So I need to say my final word, that it is not only the work of the police. It is like we all should join hands to make this world better for women.
Absolutely. I think that's the best thing to wrap this particular discussion upon. We really hope here that we do not have to have this discussion with the same set of panelists on the same issue. And before that, let's all get together. I'm going to thank all the panelists for taking time out to be with us here. And with that, it's a wrap here on the show. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar saying good night.